What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Six Gaming Podcast. This is episode number 134. Thank you guys for joining us. Filling in for your host, as always, it's Ron Klee. More turkey for show. This is almost like bad Thanksgiving leftovers for him.
I talked to him the other day. He fucking hates his job. Like,
it sounds like he does.
Not only because he can't do the podcast, but he's like, yeah, I get to murder chickens every single day. Yay. Or get to watch. Well, he doesn't kill them personally, but
yeah, he's a manager or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, he has to take care of them for them to be killed. Yay.
And I'm also here too, by the way.
Just don't tell Peta that though. But yeah, we have an awesome and illustrious group of individuals today, of which Dan is not one of them.
Yeah, he was never very illustrious.
Well, there's been some episodes where he's been both awesome and illustrious because no one else was here.
But
we do have solo mail with us. I guess we didn't scare you off last week.
Nope. I was afraid I would scare you off.
Quite the opposite.
You don't know us too well, do you?
Yeah, exactly, I don't.
And speaking of Halloween costumes, the man that wears his Halloween costume every day.
I wish. My Halloween costume's awesome.
You're wearing it right now. You're just being you as a Halloween costume.
Yeah, that's my French right there.
Your French.
Yeah, my French.
Your French is pretty bad, but we have a big show for you today. We have a ton of news. This last week's just been absolutely crazy with news from everywhere. So let's dig right into it. Get to the first half of the show. This is Show-san's favorite half of the show. This is news, or however he does it. I don't know how he does it.
This is the ASMR part of the show.
No, it's not. You really have to experience when Show-san does these intros because it's just I don't give it anywhere near the justice it deserves. It's amazing. So anyway, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We're going to start off with a pretty big acquisition in the world of gaming. IGN acquires Humble Bundle.
Huh.
So the IGN, of course, being big into gaming news, now also sells the games. And what they've said, I mean, they made a statement. First of all, Humble Bundle's going to operate as is right now. There's going to be no changes. There's
good. I was concerned about that because when I read a little bit about it, I was really hoping that they wouldn't change it because Humble Bundle is awesome.
Yep. And the other thing that they've committed to is attempting to keep their stories on Humble Bundle as neutral as possible, because they report on gaming, and now they have something that they could possibly be reporting on. It's kind of murky territory there, but we do have other keep them in check. I'm sure. So
I just hope that the other gaming platforms, call bullshit on Humble Bundle. Like, God forbid if anything that they keep it honest.
Yeah.
So
I imagine that's what will happen too.
Like, the thing is that from my perspective, like when it comes to game press publications buying companies that are also game industry related, I think that the only time where there'll actually be a major issue with that kind of interference is when there's a developer who's being bought out by the press.
Well, that's how Gamergate happened.
Publisher, on the other hand.
That's literally how Gamergate happened.
From what I understand, Humble does also have a development studio.
Oh,
I don't know what they do, but there's one that exists. So IGN kind of expanding their business horizons a bit. We'll see how that goes over time. And in other interesting news, I'm sure both of you know what the Orange Box is.
Oh, what's that, I wonder?
Yeah, the Orange Box, the big Valve, I guess it was a combo deal where you can get, what was it, Team Fortress 2 Portal, Half-Life, was it Half-Life or Half-Life 2?
Half-Life 2, Episode 2.
It was Episode 2, yeah. And you can get this all in the Orange Box, and it's that actually turned out to be one of the bigger releases of its time, and it is now 10 years old. So you're welcome for making you feel old.
I don't actually like never mind.
But yeah, so yeah, a lot of amazing things came out of that. Of course, I know Morphied is still into Team Fortress 2.
Yeah, and like I heard, like I know that to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Orange Box, the Valve is planning on actually giving a huge update to Team Fortress 2, and I've heard that it might actually be possible that they would port TF2 to the Source 2 engine,
Oh, wow.
like the follow up to the Source engine, which would be
Yeah.
really neat.
That'd be very cool for people that are still playing this game to this day. So,
there's still a big audience for it. It's not as big as it used to, like back in like 2010 and whatnot, but
it's still one of the biggest games on Steam.
Absolutely
just because of the just because it's been popular for a long time. So it's been visible.
and PC Gamer has an article. They actually interviewed Robin Walker to discuss the impact of the Orange Box. So definitely check that out over PCGamer.com. So very interesting read. So yeah, good for them for that. And now on to one of our on and off favorite topics on the podcast. We talk about VR a lot. Of course, what's your one major issue? Why do you think VR is not popular yet?
Because people keep fucking it up.
Well, that, and have you looked to see how much an Oculus Rift is?
It's obviously like really expensive, and like not only are VR headsets themselves super expensive, but you have to get a powerful PC, which costs a lot of money and might have some issues on its own, and then you gotta do this whole room setup. You gotta have space in your house or apartment. There's like a lot of these, a lot of barriers to entry.
Yeah, very much so. Well, Facebook is trying to eliminate one of those, and that being the entry price. They have announced Oculus Go, which is a $200 wireless VR headset set for release next year.
But does it require a phone?
No, this is for PC. You can use it on PC. You can use it on phone. It's interesting what they're doing with this.
So you can use it with multiple
devices. Yeah,
nice. And I also heard that HTC was developing a VR headset that's just a standalone headset without anything else required to run VR.
Yeah, that'll be nice. It's definitely price is one of the biggest barriers to entry right now, and especially you mentioned the hardware limitations for some people as well. It's very expensive to get into, but when the price of the set goes down, I think that will start. I think that will help. I know just based on this fact alone, I'm probably going to get one of these because $200 is way better than $600. So we'll definitely see where that goes. They don't have an exact date in 2018. They just said sometime next year. So keep an eye out for that. And of course, Discord. Actually, we're using Discord now for our show planning. We used to use Facebook. We've moved to Discord, but Discord has added a whole bunch of stuff over the past year, and now games and gaming companies can apply to have verified Discord servers.
Huh.
So if you get, we have a lot of communities that have sprung up. I know for. Let me just look real quick because I know I'm in a whole bunch of these things. I have one for Descent. I've got several for Crypt of the Necrodancer. Here's Descent Underground, Soul Contingency, something called HunterNet, Distance, Monolith, Spelunky. All these games have unofficial servers, and now they're going to support having official servers. So of course, you have.
I can see some of these being so cancerous.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and we'll get to moderation in a bit, by the way. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions as to how these are going to be moderated. If something goes on the server, well, who's going to be responsible? Is it going to be Discord or the gaming company? There's a lot of up in the air questions on that, but it's something that's supported. I think overall will be a good thing, and gives a lot of. It's basically another avenue for a gaming company to reach out to their customers, their players. So we'll see how that goes. And moving on, I know a show's going to be so upset over this news story. There's there's no saving or killing the animals this year.
I saw that. What the hell?
Super Metroid will not be run at AGDQ 2018.
Wow.
What, did they say why?
They're just giving it a rest. There's a lot of speculation going on too as to why they're doing this. And one of them is one of the reasons that they think is because a lot of the runners in recent marathons have gotten extremely risky with their play styles to the point where they don't use saves because saving is pretty time expensive in a speed run. And there have been, I remember the 3-way race, I think it was in AGDQ 2017, where 2 of them died early. And
Yeah,
it was just the one guy finishing out. And they've had a lot of close calls like that. So they're wondering if maybe they're afraid that this is not a marathon safe run or whatnot. But I mean, this has been played at every GDQ since their existence. So it's interesting.
Have they made any official statements explaining why?
No, none that I saw. But I haven't looked at this in a couple of days. Yeah, when the list first came out, of course, I'm not on it again, but I don't play Mario, so I'm not surprised.
By the way, just on a side note,
oh yeah,
the whole saving killing the animals thing I think is somehow interesting in a meta sense because canonically, Samus saves the animals because in Fusion, like the animals are what saves her at the end. So it's pretty hilarious when people who haven't played Fusion are like, "Oh, screw those animals. Who needs them?" And then it kind of made me want to have a donation saying, "Hey, by the way, if you don't save the animals, then canonically there won't be a sequel to Metroid Fusion."
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, it's and of course that's like the big source of that controversy. It's like, okay, you're a speedrunner, you want to save the frames, you don't want to waste time killing the animals, but if you kill the animals, you're killing canon. So it's been interesting. Each side has won its various events.
Yeah, but we're also not talking about, like, we've seen this game played over and over and over again. I don't really see that's an issue. I
guess it's at this point it's not really interesting to see a speed run after all these times.
Yeah. There's only so many times you can see it and be like, oh yeah, that's how they do it.
Like one of the first tool-assisted speedruns I've ever seen is a reverse boss order tool-assisted speedrun for Super Metroid. So after that, and after you see someone somehow barely manage to do it without tool-assisted speedrunning in a marathon, everything else just kind of looks old. So I guess it's not a huge deal, but like tradition. And
they've been slowly pulling it away because it used to be the grand finale, and then it was like the second last game, and they had that Mario race at the end, and then they've had Undertale recently, and there was another one that they put at the end. They've been slowly getting away from it. Now they're taking it out altogether.
So many games that they haven't touched yet,
Yep. So like Sub-Level Zero. Moving on, though, we won't see Super Metroid at GDQ. That kind of sucks, but there's going to be a ton of good games. There's still going to be a great event. Definitely check that out. Bethesda, remember we talked about them last week with the Make America Nazi Free Again. They've actually kind of been forced to put out a statement on this because of how it's been seen. And it's kind of funny because the way that they word it is
sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, pretty much. It says Wolfenstein has been decidedly a decidedly anti-Nazi series since the first release more than 20 years ago. We aren't going to shy away from what the game is about. We don't feel it's a reach for us to say Nazis are bad and un-American, and we're not worried about being on the right side of history here. So they're just kind of shrugging this off, as they should, I think.
I think they handled it beautifully, honestly. Like Bethesda's fucked up before with other stupid things, with Skyrim being on every single platform imaginable, and
yeah, they even made that fake box art for the SNES.
Man,
it's just, I'm sorry, but fuck Nazis. That's all I have to say,
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, well, what about their freedom? They have their freedom. They're Nazis, They say they're Nazis, and we should condemn them.
Yeah, like
That's
if anyone tries to say their freedom, then ask them freedom to do what?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the thing about freedom of speech is that there's no such thing as freedom or speech that's free from consequences.
Yeah, exactly. You are free to say whatever you want. You are not, free from the consequences of your stupid shit.
Yeah, the only thing that freedom of speech protects you from is the government.
Yep.
So anyone else can do whatever they want with what you said.
Yep. So that's Bethesda. They're taking their stand, which is, I think that's good. So moving on. I apologize in advance. I added Pokemon news this week.
Why?
Oh, no. Well, how could you do this to us, you terrible person?
And yet Cole's isn't here, so it's not as bad. It won't last.
It's not as bad. Cole's well. Here's what the news is, and the reason why I posted it. Apparently, there has been a group on, a group, like literally over 100 groups on Facebook, just recently got banned from Facebook because they're Russian groups and they're doing Russian things. And one of the things that they were doing is using the game Pokemon Go to inflame racial tensions. And what they'll do,
Jesus Christ,
here's what they're doing. They're asking people to change their names to people that have been singled out for racial tension, Martin Driva and so on and so forth, and go to these places where the stuff actually happened and start doing stuff there so that they show up on the other players' games.
Huh.
That's it. That's what they're doing. Very awkward. So you'll see something like, this guy is over at this statue where something bad happened 20 years ago or something like that. Stuff like that. And I don't even know. It's silly. And the thing is the groups are portraying themselves as a Black Lives Matter group, but they're not.
What the fuck? Jesus. Just
so
when
this reminds me of when I remember it was some sort of SJW group that was trying to get Call of Duty's multiplayer offline permanently because ISIS or Al-Qaeda was using it as a platform to talk about their terrorists.
It's kind of silly that I'm not quite sure what this group is trying to accomplish with this, but they got caught up in a big old ban wave from Facebook. So, very interesting. Moving on, we have OpenCritic. OpenCritic, of course, they do things like video game reviews and stuff like that. Well, they've decided that this recent spat of loot boxes or loot box-like mechanics, we talked about Forza last week. Remember that?
Yeah.
It's getting so bad that they're now going to review the loot box system separately from games. And they're going to focus on things like, what kind of value do you get? How random is it? How much work would you have to do in game to get that box? Stuff like that. And they're going to be experimenting with this over the course of the next few months.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense because with the huge success of loot boxes and in Overwatch, and
Overwatch it's not where it started, but it's where it exploded.
Yeah. Like I know that Team Fortress 2 was one of the earlier games to have loot boxes. So like now that loot boxes are so popular with AAA games, it makes sense that publishers would just try to slap one into whatever game that they're.
The perfect. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I was going to say the perfect example right now is the new Shadow of Mordor game that's coming out.
Yep, that was one of the ones mentioned.
And there's already people hacking it to make sure that that they can completely bypass the loot boxes, because why the fuck do you need loot boxes in a single player game? That makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, what are you going to show off your loot box loot to?
Well, like I said, like publishers see that this is like basically free money if they just slap this into the game, and since it's so extraneous, it makes sense that you would have like a separate reviewing that part of the game, and because how separate it is from the rest of the game,
Yeah, well, I think it's really good that they're doing this because I know me and Veg have played various games in the past that have stuff like this. How about Spirit Stones?
Yeah,
where you get random cards and stuff like that.
Random RNG. I hate. And Hearthstone's another good one. Like
Hearthstone, yes.
Like,
So Heroes
if
of the
it's
Storm
bad-
has started doing it.
Yeah. Well, Heroes of the Storm is still mostly the thing though that I have a problem with loot boxes is that, and there's a lot of people on my Facebook friends group that I talk to about games, and the biggest problem is that once it starts impacting the actual gameplay of the game instead of just skins or and whatnot, that's a problem because. And that's the problem with Shadow of Mordor, that the loot boxes you have to get, it's basically, if you want the true ending of that game so far, I don't even know what it is, so I can't spoil it. You have to grind your way with loot boxes.
That's silly.
And yeah, exactly. And one of my friends was in the open beta for that, or he was in the closed beta rather, and he was telling me that it was just garbage. The RNG was garbage. And then he said it got even worse, and I believe the game's out now. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, people have been streaming it. So yeah,
and I've been hearing complaints left and right about that. Like I was wondering if it was just open beta or if it was just if it was actually out. I don't know. It wasn't high on my list.
Yeah, same here. So.
And from what I heard about the first one, which was a critically acclaimed game, it was very good and very well done.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, I actually wanted to pick that one up eventually. Just I don't know when.
Yep.
Just when it's cheap, I guess. But
Game of the Year edition.
Yeah, pretty much. It's the same way I got with Fallout 4, but it's really bad when it comes to that. When your greed overcomes, like I have a feeling in the next 5 years we're going to be seeing the downward spiral of gaming because of greed, not because.
I really hope not. I really think that.
Like we're going to have the
players are going to take a stand.
Yeah, like
at some point, the players will take a stand.
Yeah, like we've seen them with a rise of like stuff like digital marketplaces being better than physical retail, buying games physically. Like stuff like developments like that allow basically more power to the consumer, as long as the systems in place, like Steam and Tumble Bundle and GOG, stay like allow that kind of power to the consumer,
Mm-hmm.
Right, but at the same time, there are people who just don't give a fuck. They're like, I want to play Madden, and I'll spend $20 to get this character unlocked, because I want this certain NFL player.
Yeah.
And I believe 2018 is doing it too with the card system, and FIFA has been doing it for a while.
Ugh, crazy.
Yeah, and my one friend just completely stopped playing FIFA online because of that, because you unlock because not only is there like certain cards that are, players that are really good to get, there's like gold cards of them that are even better stats and all this crazy shit. And I'm like, he goes, it's basically cheating because it's like, how can this, what's so different? It's literally the same person. He goes, how the fuck is he better than himself?
Anything to make a few extra dollars, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what happened to Spirit Stones. Like, you had to get certain cards, but guess what? You got to pay out with Spirit Stones. You had to pay out of your ass at a certain point, even though I never did, but I was at such a high level. But I couldn't continue because the cards I had weren't good enough. I needed to get all the top tier cards. Yep. And I looked it up. I talked and I messaged the people, the creators of it. And they basically said, well, if you want these cards, you're going to have to pay for them. And I was like, that's kind of fucked. Okay. But I was like, what about, is there a free way to doing it? He goes, RNG. That's it.
Yep. That's the way they work.
And guess where they're at now? They're not there anymore.
Yep. Spirit Stones does not exist.
And another company I was doing that too, and it almost went out of business, was Defenders of Texel, or DOT. They were struggling for a good while too because of the same thing, because all their hard minions to get were buy only, but they changed it up to where you can trade them now. You can trade all the defenders and whatnot. Of course, the people who want them want some ridiculous shit in return half the time, but hey, it's a bit better. They made it a bit more balanced, but that was the last time I played, which was about a year ago.
Yeah, I don't know. That's about when they came back. They came back around Christmas.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that.
It's corporate greed getting, I understand that they have a bottom line to make. Like, I understand that completely, but at the same time, if you're just there just for greed, you're no better than Uwe Boll when it comes to movies. Like EA to me is Uwe Boll of the gaming industry.
Yeah, like I think that the like it's a bit more complex than just pure greed. It's more about like how these publishers just want to be the biggest company of them all, and so like they the bigger publishers just want to be the biggest publishers, so that they'll just do whatever they think they need to do to just have the largest financial growth, and all that.
I would agree with you, but there's some indie games that just murder, and if it wasn't for the fact of how big like EA or who makes Call of Duty again? Anyway, it was Trinity or not. My mind's farting right now, but Cuphead's a perfect example. They're an indie company. They slaved years away for that game, and
they sold 1 million copies.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Activision, by the way.
Yeah, it's Activision and Trimark or Try something, because they have the brand too. So, I agree with you that the companies want to prophesize games, but at the same time, when you start adding microtransactions to
they
a game,
prophesize games.
Prophesize.
Yeah, that's how they predict the market.
Yeah,
they prophesize.
Ron, don't you question me?
I'll question your questionable doubt.
It's ridiculous anymore. I'm already paying $60 for a fucking game, a AAA title, and then I have to pay more for it.
Yeah, that's stupid.
It's kind of one of the reasons I'm like, I really want to buy Destiny 2, and not because of the game itself, because I know people are going to play it, and I have a lot of friends who are going to play it on PC.
Mm-hmm.
I have tons of friends that want to play it on PC, and they want to play with me. E-rated, but I've already seen the reviews of it, and they're very mixed because of the microtransactions. Like, they almost ruined the game.
That's too bad.
And that's bad. That's horrible. That a little thing, because of greed, and that is greed right there, because they want to stretch that dollar as much as they possibly can. And I get that, if it works for free system, like look at League of Legends, they make millions upon millions of dollars every year from skins and unlocking characters early. If you really want to, you can earn every single character and never have to pay a dime for it. I don't.
You have most of them, don't you?
I have all of them.
You have all of them, yeah. And you've never.
I have all of them.
Exactly.
And I've paid for maybe one or two of them at the most, and that's because I really wanted to play that champion because I played it in PvE and I just couldn't wait. Mm-hmm. That was my fault. Well, not fault, but that was my priority. But at the same time, they don't punish you for that. They don't. They always, do a weekly thing, and then everyone's, there's always that giant debate with Dota 2 and League of Legends, like, well, Dota 2 already has. That's another topic. But
I think we can have a whole roundtable on the way microtransactions have progressed, and I think we have in the past too.
We have, and they've gotten worse.
Yeah, but anyway, that's the scoop with the loot boxes. OpenCritic is going to start judging you a little harshly if you're bad at them. So there's that. Speaking of roundtable material, so apparently Jeff Kaplan of Overwatch fame got a little uppity at one of his players of Overwatch. Because I know, right?
You don't say.
Because they suggested that they should replace the whole team because of how bad the balance has gotten, according to them.
It's gotten pretty bad.
Jeff Kaplan slapped them with a 30-day ban.
That's ridiculous.
Like, yeah, completely not happy that somebody would suggest that they replace everybody on the team, and he took it. He seemed to take it pretty personally. He made a very brief post on it. Nothing like some of the tongue-in-cheek things that he's done in the past with the players that have gone on there. Like the one guy asking, "Why did I get banned?" And he says, "Oh, we've had X hundred of reports against your name, blah blah blah. If this really is your account, let us know," or something like that. It was really funny the way he did it. This was just like banhammer.
Yeah, it seemed like he got butthurt.
Yeah, something really seemed to just make him want to get rid of this guy for a month. To be fair, the Blizzard forums in general for all their games have had a policy in place since at least 2012. Your first offense, you get banned for like 3 days, and like the second offense is like 30 days.
So that would be
there's precedent for this, but the fact that Jeff Kaplan came in to do it that's what made it newsworthy, and a lot of people are questioning, why is he taking such a heavy hand himself? Why is he not leaving this to his moderators? Stuff like this. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It seemed like he got butthurt, and someone took a jab at him and he didn't like it. That's what it seemed like. But they're not wrong though. Like I've seen a lot of the competitive players say, yeah, there's a lot of broken characters.
Yeah, I mean, there's always been some balance issues with Overwatch. You can tell when you play. Like when I first started watching competitive Overwatch, one of the things that always struck me is that if somebody's about to lose a match, they just go straight to Tracer and try to get to the point so that they extend overtime. And that's all they do. And it would extend it by like 5-10 minutes, and it was like really stupid. So they tried to change some things with that. And I think they have a long way to go with balance. Overwatch is a relatively new game. It's only been out for a year and change.
My thing is that the competitive, like they should change up the casual and competitive balances, like separately, because competitive playing is on a whole nother level. And that's the problem with League of Legends too. It's like there's, like what works in bronze isn't going to work in diamond.
No.
You can cheese with Master Yi on bronze through gold for the most part because people don't know how to counter him, which is to kite him to death. And you'll see people take care of him in gold and whatnot a lot more effectively than people in bronze. I can't, like, I've only watched competitive Overwatch a few times, so I can't say which characters are severely broken and which ones aren't. But Dota 2 is, despite, I think they have like 110 champions or something like that. And out of the entire roster it was like 2015 or 2016, like 80% of the champions were used. That's pretty damn balanced.
It's pretty close indeed. It's a lot better than...
Because League of Legends, it's like a handful. Like right now I'm seeing, if you get Galio, Gragas, and one more, and some sort of heavy-handed support, you're going to win because you're so damn tanky that your back line's just going to annihilate anything because it takes forever to kill them.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed watching Worlds. Just the champion selection is so limited.
Yeah, and it's been like that for years now. I don't know if you've ever, noticed that in general. It's just like they'll hold on to a bunch of champions, that are pretty damn solid, and then...
Yeah, the meta doesn't change very much in League.
Yeah. And that's a problem with League of Legends, but and it's the same thing with Overwatch. Like I said, I played a couple times and I've noticed that no one ever plays McCree because reasons.
So they have all these balance issues with the initial game. Well, apparently they're hiring for a entirely new Overwatch game. A lot of people have speculated this might be a mobile game. Nothing solid coming out yet, but yeah, they're saying that they're as always when they hire, they don't say much about the project other than what team it's related to. So yeah, they're coming out with something new. We just don't know what yet.
Yeah, it makes sense that like the IP is just exploded, so it's like put Blizzard back in relevancy practically, but single-handedly.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I really like about what they did with Overwatch is they made all these characters that are engaging, and you don't get that with other games. I mean, League of Legends kind of has lore to their characters, but who knows what Persona does.
They are not, like, ever since 2014, 2015, they obliterated the lore.
Yeah, it's like you can't really get connected with the characters like you can. Like, they put out this video for a freaking robot back at Gamescom last year, and people are all like they're like putty after watching it.
I was
Because
sad.
it's
Like
so
I was
touching.
sad.
You know, they did the same thing with May not too long ago. Put out her origin story. So
That made me like they are touching. Like they know how to pull heartstrings.
they do. Blizzard in general has been good at that.
They're evil.
They're evil. I mean the Valithria or not? What the hell's the dragon's name? Valithria is the Valderano.
Or the sleeping dragon.
The sleeping dragon, the green dragon aspect. The thing that they did with her was just crazy. I'm just like naming names that don't even exist.
I know it's not Syndragosa. It's
No, I can't think of her name. She's dead though.
You're gonna make me have to Google this. You're bothered.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, she's dead. But yeah, they do this with a lot of things. Well, one of the things that's definitely not tearing at heartstrings, they brought back the Halloween Terror event for Overwatch. They've changed it up a bit. They have an endless mode. They have various difficulties you can play it on. I've tried the endless mode. It's interesting. They basically have you do a whole bunch of waves of things, and then they try to overwhelm you with a whole bunch of different characters, and it's kind of fun. It's a little hectic.
Well, Team Fortress 2 made a huge holiday out of Halloween, so they might as well too.
Yeah. They have new characters in there that you can play in there. God, who was it? Like the base 4. There's a soldier still in there. Then there's Anna. McCree's in there. I'm surprised how good I was doing. McCree. Is Sarah? Yeah, thank you. Sarah's the green dragon. And I forget who the fourth one is. I think it's Hanzo. But I mean, they have a whole bunch of they've shuffled the characters, so it's not the same 4 characters as before. So it's pretty interesting. Definitely worth checking out if you remember it from the first time. Had fun with it. Go back, give it another shot. It's pretty good.
I need to unlock the Mercy skin for Halloween.
Yeah,
that is bootylicious.
Never die. Yeah, bootylicious. Oh, geez, veg. And then one more thing on Blizzard. Blizzard has targeted and banned a ton of Warcraft botters. And they've hit users of so many applications that your head would spin. Honor Buddy got hit, EWT, Firehack, Type Omega, Soapbox Rations. You use any of them, you're probably banned. 6 to 18 months was the ban length on them. And
I found out that two of my friends on my friend list are banned.
I had a raid leader banned. Not for this wave, but one of the previous waves.
Yeah, I remember that was hilarious. And your
fun.
guild fell apart because of it, didn't it?
No, it did not.
It actually survived.
Yeah, it's still going. But yeah, lots of bans. Don't use this shit, guys. That's all I gotta say.
It's so easy to make money. Stop being lazy. Like, I literally went down to 1,000 gold, and like a week later, I was back up to 30 grand. Like, it's not hard to grind out gold anymore.
It's just annoying.
Yeah, well,
it's still a grind.
Any kind of work is annoying.
Yep. And then moving on to more Riot Games news than League of Legends. Brandon Beck and Mark Merrill, also known as Rise and Tryndamere, no longer run League of Legends.
Wait, what?
They no longer run League of Legends. They have left behind League of Legends, and they are pursuing creating a new game for Riot Games.
Huh.
So it'll be interesting to see. No other news what the game is or anything, but the top 2 guys, the 2 founders, are going for it. So we'll see what that's all about.
I wonder if they're actually going to finally make that MMO they've been promising for like
maybe
5 years.
Yeah,
that Coles has been like salivating at the mouth for.
Yep. And now, Dan, take a drink because we're going to talk a little bit about the disaster, otherwise known as the League of Legends Worlds.
Baby Jesus. It's on right now, too.
Have Solo, you been following this at all?
I don't think I've heard of it, actually.
League of Legends, they have their World Finals going on. You can watch it. It's in China, so it's been starting around this time. It's twitch.tv/Riot Games, where they have their professional League of Legends teams going at the World Championships. And there were 24 teams. We're down to 10 at the moment. 2 more will get eliminated today, but it's been a bloodbath for the North American teams.
Oh my God, they've been. I can't believe Misfits just. Or not Misfits, the other team, the 1-6.
There was one team. Okay, so Team Solo Mid was like expected to win out their group. And it turns out that the Chinese group, Team WE, was actually the juggernaut of the group, and they went 5-1. And there was one team that was expected to do really good, and they were 0-5 up until the last game where they took out TSM. That put them into a tiebreaker with Misfits, which Misfits eventually won.
They obliterated them.
North American teams in the second week of Worlds since 2015 are 4-22.
Yep.
It's just You get to the second week of Worlds and you're just expecting North American teams to just melt away, and that's what's been happening so far. Cloud9 is the only team remaining with a chance to advance.
They're not going to.
They're in second. They're 2-1.
They're going to choke.
We'll see. Every time it seems, Cloud9's already having a good day because Cloud9 won the Rocket League championships today. For North America.
Yeah, that was fun to watch too.
But Cloud9 is playing at Worlds, and obviously their one loss is to SKT, which is the two-time defending champions, and that's probably who they'll lose to. We'll see how the other games go. I'm probably going to end up watching this tonight because it's just been a bloodbath for North America.
I'm going to watch the first two matches, then I got to go to bed because I work in the morning.
Yeah, Longju wins Group B, but Fnatic, they started off. I don't think they had a win coming into their stage. They lost their first game, but then rattled off 4 games, including 2 tiebreakers, to get the second in their division.
Yeah, that was amazing.
They went 4-4. That's just insane. You lose your first 4 games, you're usually out, and they come back and get second, so they'll be in the group stages. RNG wins their group in Group C. Samsung will get second. Team WE, as I said, won Group D, and Misfits beat TSM to get second in their group. And Group A plays.
TSM, just ever since they lost Dyrus.
Freaking Dyrus, man. So, that's going to do it. Holy crap, that was a lot of news. So hopefully we can get through the rest of this pretty quickly. And we're going to move on very quickly to the second half of the podcast, Shosan's favorite half of the show. And this is an unnamed part where we talk about what we've been playing. We'll come up with a name for this that sticks at some point. So, Veg, what have you been up to in the last week?
Tons and tons and tons of Warframe.
Warframe?
Yes, Space Ninjas. That's why. I got back into it because I had a group of friends that were playing it on the PlayStation 4, and then they disappeared. And then I remembered, I have it on the PC, and I had a lot more shit on the PC because they wouldn't let me transfer my account to the PS4 for some reason. So guess what? I'm playing it on PC again, and it's a lot of fun. Speaking of microtransactions, the game has it, but you can grind out all the gear you want, except for the brand. Well, there's some things that aren't free, you have to actually pay for, but they're super, they're not gonna hurt or affect the game in any way. It's extra crap. So
more cosmetic stuff.
That and a Warframe, which I think they're going to unlock eventually. Mm-hmm. But it's right now for the entire bundle with it, it's $80.
That's cool.
Yeah, I forget what it was for, but it's a lot of fun. It's just crazy space. The last time I really played it was 2012, 2013.
Oh, this is an old game then.
Oh yeah, it's been out since 2011, 2010 beta. And the problem that I had with it originally was it was not only grindy, but it was unnecessarily difficult if you didn't have the proper gear and whatnot. But since then, they've refined it to pretty much a masterpiece. It's beautiful. It's fun to play. It's not organized. Well, organized too, but optimized.
That's good.
And that was another problem. I would get 60 frames 1 second, then the next I would have 3. I was like, what the fuck is going on? You'll get that occasionally, but because the maps are RNG, they're kind of like Diablo. Every time you play on the same map, you're not going to get the same map the same instance. You're not going to get the same map every time. So it's RNG based when it comes to that. You'll have certain fields that are, just like Diablo, certain events will have a guaranteed certain field, but the everything else leading up to it and getting away from it is different. So I always thought that was pretty cool.
No.
And then I've been playing a little bit of a game called Dreadnought. It's free to play now. Basically, it's 5-on-5 action of giant space ships that blow each other up the hell.
Sounds
I
like
usually
your kind of game.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun to play too. A lot of the games I've been playing lately have been easier to play on controller than they have with the mouse and keyboard, and that's one of them. Because the movement of the ship is a pain in the dick with a mouse and keyboard than with a controller. Because it's 3D oriented, you have to be pretty precise where you hit stuff.
Yep.
And it has nukes. Like some of the ships can fire nuclear warheads at each other, and they do a lot of damage.
Wait, explosions in space?
It's not just space; it's also on a lot of the maps are like planetary bound, but there are a couple space maps, and they are interesting to say the least. Because you got to think of defending your own space, but in not just a 2D platform, but a 3D field.
Yep.
Or 3D to 4. I don't know.
40. Really? 40 veg?
I don't know.
Veg.
What would that be considered 2D if you had to worry about just the ground?
No, how the 4D works is there's a scratch and sniff car that they
Does it smell like boysenberry?
Maybe part of that. I don't know. We're gonna move on. Anything else you've been playing?
I'm just more F1 and
F1.
Yeah, people online are complete assholes. That's it.
Well, we knew that. I mean, it's the internet. So moving on. Solo, what have you been up to last week?
I think. Oh yeah, that's it. The only real new thing I've really done, gaming wise, is I've well, it's not new at this point, but I've completed the first season of Sam and Max. Because I got the two seasons of Sam and Max from like 2006, from Humble Bundle, and I've been kind of slowly getting through it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the interesting thing I think the interesting thing about it is that I'm not completely sure about this because I don't know much about Telltale, but I think that the engine that they made for Walking Dead was prototyped during like in Sam and Max, basically. Like that was their original. Like, because it's got like a lot of the same thing, like you click around to move around like a 3D space. You got the similar looking like conversation cameras.
Yep.
So like the thing is that I just realized that there's a news story that I want to talk about regarding PC hardware. Western Digital has actually had a breakthrough with the hard drive technology that allows hard drives to be stored more compact, like hard drive space be more compact, and like by 2025 there'll be like consumer level hard drives that can store like 40 terabytes of data.
Oh my God.
Which blows the roof off of the previous limits. And also, this is a big deal for stuff like data centers and cloud storage firms.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. They'll make their storage a bit cheaper, for sure. Yeah, it's like my biggest hard drive on my system, I think, is 2 terabytes. And I have maybe 1 terabyte up across other drives, and it's just like, I've kept up with it. I haven't quite filled it out yet, but it's going to happen. It's the next Steam sale, I'm screwed.
Wild Bill's like, yeah, I got an 8 terabyte hard drive. I was like, why? He goes, look at all the anime. And I'm like,
yeah, that's
Jesus, dude. And then he's like, and I got another 10 terabyte. And I'm like, how much are these? He's like, oh, don't worry about that. It's like
yeah, exactly.
I'm like,
just don't think about it too hard.
He says, you should get one too. And I'm like, yeah, because I want to spend half my fucking income or all my income on a hard drive.
Right. Yeah.
But that would be awesome. I'm just curious to what the prices are going to be for the 40 terabytes for consumers.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah, because I can already see them being like $3,000 right now.
Mm-hmm. And you also have to wonder what larger hard drives would open up in terms of things like gaming. Is that going to make people want to make games that span multiple terabytes?
Well, it makes those HD texture pack downloads more practical, like where, like with, games like newer games like Titanfall 2 and Destiny 2, have those optional, or wait, not Destiny 2. I think it was Shadow of War that had it. I don't know. I heard that there's another new game that had an optional HD texture pack download, and also there's a 4K cinematic download as well, where you can have the pre-rendered cinematics that are rendered in 4K if you have the space for it.
Yeah, those would be some.
Well, I know that
videos.
I know that Fallout 4 had one, and that thing was like fucking 60 gigs.
Yep, pretty much.
Like it was not on top of the 20 gig download. You had to download it. It was so in total like 80 gigs for this entire thing, and it was just an HD pack. And I literally played it, and there's no fucking difference.
That sucks.
Other than my frame rate went down because the water looks prettier. Like, that's about it.
About it, yes. Anything else? Anything else, Solo?
So another thing that a large hard drive might help with is like single hard drive systems, because now that Intel is starting to develop this new caching system, like where you got this non-volatile memory that's a lot faster than any SSD, but a lot slower than RAM, but it can be stored even when the system has been turned off. So basically, it can cache data that a computer uses frequently, and you can see like massive increase in speed when you're just using a regular hard drive and not a solid state drive.
Mm-hmm.
So like that combined with one of those new microwave hard drives might just be a great idea, Yep.
Now, in terms of like speed, how do these compare to solid states?
Like I saw benchmarks. Like it seemed like there was it was kind of like an in between. It seemed like it was kind of in between a hard drive and a solid state drive. Like either that, or you just couldn't tell the difference between a solid state drive and that.
Yeah. Interesting. So yeah, pretty good technology there. Anything else you've been up to gaming wise?
Well, I've been trying to get a 10 deathless streak in Crypt of the Necrodancer for the achievement. And like at one point I died after 6 wins. That was depressing. Yeah, basically I found out the biggest downside to having Warhammer: shielded enemies. Because I was on the first floor or something, and I got the Blood Story, and I got a Golden Warhammer. I was like, oh man, Golden Warhammer, first floor. And then I found the challenge trap room, the yellow and black teleport tile.
Yep.
And then I took the freeze spell, and then it turns out there are like 2 shielded enemies and a dragon that boxed me in. I couldn't move, and I died. And the second time,
and you forgot the shield spell. You had to use your spells.
I think I did. I don't remember exactly what happened. I don't even remember if it was the ice spell or the shield spell or fireball. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
probably a lot of things there.
And the other time I was just kind of not really focusing enough, and I ended up dying in zone 1, or level 1 actually, in zone 1 when I dug through a wall and then the Minotaur jumped me.
Oh, jeez.
That's fun.
Back before the DLC hit, I had a 50-plus cadence streak ruined because I had already taken hits, so I was at 2 hearts. And there was a lock shop and right by a door. So I walk up to the door, drop a bomb. On the same turn I dropped a bomb, one of those stupid little red spirits spawns, and I get 2 squares. I didn't even get 2 squares away because like if I had moved to the left, he would have hit me and killed me. And he would have, because I wasn't at 2 hearts. I was pretty low. I remember that. But I was either get hit by him or get blown up by the bomb. And it was sad.
Poor Ron.
It's so sad. Yeah, spirits are fair and balanced enemies anyway. So
yeah, and also not to mention the random teleport pads in Zone 3. Those are fun.
Yes. Whee! YOLO teleports.
Yeah, I actually saw like a couple times where like an enemy was actually able to attack someone on like the beat that they teleported like right next to the player. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Yep, I've died like that before. It's great. But yeah, as for me, of course, I've been playing Necrodancer too. I got a ton of PBs this week. I got the number 5 Mary time somehow.
Wow.
I don't even know how I did that. It's just, I hate that character. She's so bad. But then the game gave me full glass. There's full glass, and I had a glass Warhammer along with a glass jaw, so I was doing 8 damage. Nothing was coming anywhere near the damn lamb.
Yeah.
Everything was dead before it even thought about hitting it. And next thing you know, I've got the number 5 time just with a high damage build. That's all it took. Death State, been playing that a little bit. I've been really wanting to get back into doing endless runs to see how far I can get on those. Played a little bit of Creeper World 3, not too much. Kind of getting pumped for the Creeper World 4 game coming out, but don't know when it'll be coming out, sometime next year. And then just metric butt tons of Diablo 3. I mean, just it's like all I've been doing lately.
Carry me, senpai.
What?
Carry me, senpai.
Carry me. Okay, Dan. The season ends in 6 days.
No,
So
I'm
season's
already
just about
done.
over.
My wife's not, though.
Yeah. So the only thing that I have to do is beat Urziel in 20 seconds. That's like
That's
the
easy.
last thing on Torment 13.
That's easy.
On Torment 13, Veg,
Yeah.
guy has a 15-second cutscene between phases 1 and 2. You have to kill him in 20 seconds.
How about you just don't get a cutscene?
You have to, because he
For the
does.
second scene?
Yeah, Urziel.
Wait,
Not the guy in Act 4, the guy in Act 5, the fire guy.
Oh, ugh, I hate that guy.
Yeah, 20 seconds on Torment 13. It's the
I'm
last
pretty
thing I
sure you can do
got.
that with a bunch of people. Is it solo or is it a bunch of people?
You can do either way.
Oh, then that's easy.
So yeah, I haven't gotten a bunch of people together to do it yet. So because you go into bounties, no one wants to do that. They want to farm the bounties. It's like whatever. So we'll see if I can get that. I got the slot. I got the bank slot already. I've got everything else. So pretty successful season considering I only played it for like 2.5 weeks so far. So there's that. And yeah, that's gonna do it for that part of the podcast. We're gonna move on to the third half of the show. This is Shosan's favorite half of the show. This is the 6 Gaming Roundtable, where we ask questions and hopefully get answers that are semi-intelligent. Hopefully we can get through this pretty quick, because this is going back to the whole story we had earlier on Overwatch, Jeff Kaplan stepping in, banning that guy from the forums. Well, the question that we have for you is, when it comes to companies policing their own forums, how far is too far?
Well, of course, like when if they are willing to police their own forums, then they have to have a policy, you know. And like, I guess sorry,
Nope, no
I
worries.
guess that like, of course, you have to closely check to see if the policy seems reasonable, you know. And then after that, if they don't follow the policy, then that's obviously too far.
Mhm.
That's all I can think of.
Yeah, in terms of like how it relates to the Overwatch incident, it sounds like they're following their policy. Just what was weird about it was Jeff Kaplan stepped into it, and they don't. You know, it never says who has to step in to make these decisions as to who gets banned and whatnot. Normally, they have a army of moderators to do this for you. And I remember there was one particular forum that I was on. It was not related to gaming, and it was a pretty toxic environment that I had to moderate, and it just got tiring after a while. And then, you know, even when you're following the policies, you're always going to be the bad guy, no matter what.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you can do. You're either gonna piss off the person that you're banning or piss off a bunch of people. There's really no way to have a policy that's going to work for everyone, and I think that's something that's coming in here with the whole Overwatch thing. But how far is too far? I mean, you know, like Solo said, you have your policies, you follow them. As long as you follow them, you should be fine. If you have bad policies, people aren't going to come to your forums. You know, that's how I stopped. What's the name of the damn it, I can't think of the name of the one company that I like was there for like 2 days, and they were just like completely awful with people, and it's like, okay, screw this. It's the company that Twitch gets their games list from. I don't remember the name of it.
Oh, I think I know you're talking.
Something Bomb.
Giant Bomb.
Giant Bomb, yeah. It's just like, okay, you're gonna treat people like this. through you. I was just like, I was gone. So yeah, it just depends on. There's a lot of factors involved, and I think as long as you're not doing anything that as obviously singling out people for just interacting with other people on the forums in a normal way that's not upsetting anyone.
Well, I mean, if you have an interesting opinion, you're going to upset somebody. That's
yeah,
but
the thing is with Blizzard in particular is that they're always open to opinions. Just this guy didn't offer one. He offered, he offered a suggestion of replace your whole team. It's just like, okay, you guys suck.
I can see that as like a really bad troll. Like I can see that, but he shouldn't have been banned. It wasn't toxic. It wasn't. It's like it sounded like it sounded like he was fed up with it because of all the balance issues. And to be fair, it's one of the reasons I stopped playing PvP on Overwatch because of the balance issues. That's why I can't directly say. That's why I was saying like no one ever played McCree. Like everyone doesn't want to play their role or play a role. They just want to play whatever the hell they want and just goes to hell because everyone wants to play the broken champion or the broken hero. Sorry, but it sounded like it was out of frustration. It didn't sound like it was negative.
You read the thread, right?
Yeah.
So the title said anyone else getting fed up with the balancing going on, and his entirety of the post was the balancing team needs replacement. IMHO. This is outrageous. And Kaplan's response was make a productive post, either clearly stating an issue that you're having or make a productive suggestion. We won't tolerate demands of people being replaced on these forums. See you in 30 days.
That was a bit much. Like
Kaplan didn't need to do that.
He should have made the statement and then he should have just left it as is. And he said, if you have anything productive to say, just say it. Don't make these empty. Like I can understand. Like I said, I understand when people are frustrated, but Kaplan had a point though. He made a pretty good point about we're not going to replace the team. He goes, if you have something to implement into the conversation, please do. And from my understanding, he didn't, and that's why. But he shouldn't have been banned for it. He honestly shouldn't have been banned for that. That was harsh of a punishment for frustration. And I get on their end too. It's probably pretty hard to balance something like that, especially with how many heroes they keep releasing.
Because time it's been out, which isn't much.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, still, going back to the point. I mean, I guess my question is, you think Kaplan went too far?
Yes.
I kind of don't really know the whole story. It sounds like this guy's been a problem in the past. I think probably not. But I think the problem is that Kaplan did it. Let your moderators do it. You hire them for a reason. They're there for a reason. You as the head of the project, you don't need to come in yourself and say and start policing your forums. It's just I get that he's frustrated that there are people being this way. But when you have millions of people playing your game, it doesn't matter what you do, people are going to be that way. You have to step back from it. And Kaplan not stepping back from it, to me, is not a very good sign for him.
No. It looks petty, it looks dumb. Like, just from an imagery of Blizzard, like, it looks bad on them. It's like, he banned, like, one of their head chiefs went out and banned someone. And even then, yeah, exactly. Like,
he doesn't need to be doing that.
I think that the warning was probably enough, like considering he was just frustrated.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, my whole problem is that it was Jeff Kaplan. It should not have been Jeff Kaplan. It should have been.
I don't even think he should have been banned for it. I think like at the most you should have just deleted the post or archived it or like
maybe. Yeah, they usually lock posts like that and give kinds of warnings. It depends on how crazy this guy's been on the forums. He's got 500 plus posts. I haven't read them all. I'm not going to read them all.
If he only gets banned twice out of all that many posts, I mean, he either has some legitimate concerns or people just get really butthurt.
But yeah, that's my thing is that if as long as Blizzard's following their policy, him getting banned is not a problem. But the fact that Kaplan's doing the banning doesn't look good on him. That's my whole thing.
Yeah, no, I'm with that. It's just
Anything else that we have? Go ahead, Fitch.
well, there was one. Well, there's also if we're going to talk about like really ban heavy forums, there was the one for the fucking Dino Beatdown game. Holy shit, that was amazing.
What?
It was Orion Dino Beatdown. You ever heard of that game?
No, I
Oh,
don't know if I should.
It's terrible.
It's got a 2 out of 10 review on IGN.
They remade the game 3 times. 3. But the guy, the person who made the game, you know, he half-assed made it. It was terrible. Obadiah forced me to get it. It was like $5 at the time, or yeah, it was $5 or $10 at the time, and it was bad. It was unplayable. Like it really was. And everyone went to the forums like, "Why aren't you fixing this?" And he just started banning people for legitimate concerns.
Yeah, lovely.
So you know,
That's
moderate. Oh, he got in trouble. He got in a lot of trouble with Steam. Steam actually had removed that game twice because they were also getting sued by Activision for copywriting of stealing their gun skins and whatnot. Oh, there is a
terrible.
yeah.
That's so bad.
Oh, it's hilarious. It's like how, you know, they had to change up their guns. They had to do so much of this game just so they could get it back onto Steam, and then it's still terrible.
Yep, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, so you know, and I see games like that, you know, and I see the criticism from it, and then he's just going out and banning every single person, you know, that's giving it negative criticism, and that was a big issue back in like 2015. I swear I brought that up before.
It sounds familiar. I just don't remember it.
Yeah, it's just don't buy it. Don't even buy it as like a gag or a joke. Don't support that man. But no, and I see things like that where, you know, people take criticism to a whole another level and they start banning people, and that was an issue for another game on Steam too, where the guy was outright banning people who were having legit concerns about the game being unplayable and being buggy and glitchy, and they just banned them. You know, they just outright banned the people for it, and it made no sense to why they did it. You know, because then other people start bringing up like, why'd you ban him? You know, he was bringing it wasn't toxic. It made some legitimate concerns about the game, you know, and they're like, well, if you don't like the game, then don't play it. And it's like, well, we already bought it, so. But and it kind of scares me like that if they're gonna allow him to start banning people like that more often. Like hopefully this is a one-off case, and I honestly think it is.
Yeah,
but if people are going to start doing that nonstop because of legitimate things, like I said, I agree with Kaplan on the sense of that. Yeah, he should have brought, you know, more legitimate, you know, reasons or things to say, you know, how can we improve our stabilization, or not stabilization, but the fairness of the game, instead of like, well, I'm going to ban you because I didn't like how you said it.
Yeah.
And that's all I got for that.
Yeah, anything else on this topic? Because otherwise...
Don't be stupid, that's all.
Otherwise, I think we're going to move on and call this a show. Thank you guys for watching us. This is the Six Gaming Podcast. You can find us over at six.gg, sx.gg. You can get a hold of our Discord server over there and check out our entire archive over on YouTube. But yeah, for now, I'm going to let you guys say your final thoughts. Solo, anything you would like to leave the audience with today?
No, I can't think of anything. Thanks.
No worries.
Except for please follow me on Twitch, because I really want people to watch my live streams at some point.
Yeah, all the fun of getting started on Twitch. It's a thing. It's an interesting thing. Veg, anything you would like to say that's semi-intelligent?
Don't be toxic and don't be a douche. That is all.
Thank you. And as for me, I got nothing. So we're going to sign it off for today. Thanks, guys, for watching, and until next week, Veg, take it away.
Turtles.
Turtles.
See you, bye.